Welcome everybody to this week's bi-weekly community call. We hold these calls every other Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. UTC. Today we have exciting guests from the Avant-Garde team. Hello Moss, and hello Rocket Pool team, Maverick. And we're gonna have them talk about the upcoming on-chain proposals, the Nexus Mutual Protocol improvement proposals about investing from the capital pool. We will have Brave New DeFi, talk about the protocol cover wording update and MPIP, and then he'll also go over the DAO team's budget request proposal. All these on-chain votes will be live starting tomorrow, so it's an active week for our members. Get ready. We will have another brief update from Brave about the forum overhaul project, which we just finished. We will have a brief demo of the current structure in the forum, which I think is quite easy to navigate now that we have all the different categories. We will have Hugh giving weekly updates from the foundation team. We will review the cover sales and active coverage, and we'll have space for an open forum. Without further ado, let's get started with Mas. I will stop sharing my screen here so that he can share his slides. Just give me a second. Mas, whenever you're ready, please go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much, guys, for having me. I just wanted to put together a few slides. First of all, to talk about the last evolution of this proposal, but also to show a bit of the history, where we started, and how we try to incorporate all the community feedback, for which we are very grateful. And so, starting from the start, we can go to the next slide. Actually, we start with the premises of this proposal. The vault has been idle since the end of 2022. There still are actually around 13,000 wrapped ETH sitting in the vault, which is about 9% of the capital pool. There is a custom chain link proof of reserve oracle, which was built in July, August 2022, which is obviously crucial for the real-time NAV calculation, but it's also costly, it's pricey. So at the moment, those costs are not offset by any income. And so a new proposal was needed to move things forward and to help Nexus monetize these assets. So we started with, we can go to the next one. We started with the first version of the RFC, which was a proposal to earn rewards through native staking and mitigate risks with diversification, due diligence, and continuous risk monitoring. We initially proposed to allocate 100% of the 13,000 ETH via Kiln and Stakewise V3 connectors. We also proposed to double the Ethereum allocation over a course of a year, 12 months, to reach an approximate 20% of the capital pool. And we also proposed initially a management fee of 50 basis points, which also includes protocol fees, obviously. So we received a lot of feedback. We can go to the next slide. We received a lot of feedback. Obviously, the direction of the proposal was right. It was okay, but the risk monitoring was now clearly defined. And the 50% via Kiln was okay, but of course, not having the Stakewise V3 integration ready yet, it was actually better to go for the 50% only to begin with. It was decided, or the feedback was very vocal about no additional allocation from the capital pool. And also one of the feedback we got was the management fee of the staking operation plus management fee from Avant-Garde had to be somewhat competitive compared to an LSD provider. So thank you very much. Special thanks to Brave, Gordon, Gecko, and Ray for the feedback that we got on the forum, but as well like with some calls that we had. So that was super helpful to design then the RFC2, which went online a few days later. And this is the next slide. So in this second version iteration, there was basically no change on the overall value proposition, but there was definitely an in-depth investment memo that we produced. as a result of the feedback. Then we only focus on the 50% allocation through Kiln, and we, for the moment, we left aside or set aside the stakewise V3 integration, the allocation, which is going to be subject to another proposal once the integration is fully audited. And finally, importantly, we reduced the management fee to 0.3%, which is now going to be set at 15 basis points for the first phase, because one of the feedback was that management fee had to be left at 50% of its full range, basically for the time being until all the capital is deployed. Yeah, so now, well, after that, we went to the non-binding snapshot vote, which is the next slide. And that was up for a week, and it was a pretty overwhelming positive response. So thanks for that. And after that, we drew the actual improvement proposal, which includes some of the important vault reconfigurations or vault settings that need to be reconfigured. So this is the next slide. Sorry for this, it's a bit loaded and very small. Yeah, I cannot even read it well, but the idea is that we have a change of allocation. So from 13,000 RAPDs undeployed, we go to 6.2 thousand RAPDs to Kiln, and the rest will stay undeployed for the time being. The management fee was 0 in the previous configuration. Also, like a side note or important premise is that the as-is configuration comes from the first allocation was done in 2022 with Maple Finance. So this is a change from that initial setup. So management fee will be set to 15 basis points. Performance fee was 50 basis points and will be discontinued. Protocol fee is now at 25 basis points and will be disabled ad interim. So until the 100% of the capital is deployed. In terms of policies, the allowed adapter Parasol B5 will be maintained. The external position of Maple Lending will be discontinued, and we will include Kiln staking and Kiln rewards for the scope of this new strategy. Slippage tolerance we left it at 5%. Was that the bypass of basically priceless asset bypass? We needed to have this for MPL tokens in the previous strategy. We don't need this anymore, so it will be disabled. Removals of external position or asset position will stay enabled, and allowed depositor will be the same, and recipient of secondary shares will be the same. So basically no changes on this one. And the gas layer finally will stay disabled. So that means that we will, Avantgarde will take care of the gas cost associated with the operations of this vault. All right. I think that next one is the last slide. So in conclusion, if this NMPIP passes, the practical actions that will be taken is that the vault settings will be reconfigured as just explained above, and the 6.6 thousand RAPDs will be staked through Kiln. And these notes were also important, and you can find them also in the formal NMPIP. The as-is settings were configured in 2022. No action is required from Nexus Mutual in terms of engineering effort. And the protocol fee is disabled ad interim. So this is just a temporary measure to have this 50% effect. So for the time being, only the 15 basis points of management fee will be enabled. And I think that's it. I think there's a bit of the history of where we started, where we concluded. So thank you very much for the participation and the feedback, and all those sessions were very useful to come to a point where I think everybody's happy with this. So yeah, if there's any questions, happy to answer.
Thank you, Moss, for this very useful overview and all your efforts in refining this proposal. Looking forward to the on-chain voting.
You're welcome. Me too.
Next up, we have Maverick from the Record Pool team, who will walk us through the NMPIP to allocate ETH in Rocket Pool. Maverick, take it away.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity to be here and talk to everyone. Quick introduction, firstly about me. My name's Mav, I'm Rocket Pool's marketing lead. We are a small 7-person team, largely based in Australia. My background is in corporate marketing and consultancy, but you're probably more interested in what Rocket Pool is. Rocket Pool is pretty unique, pretty special. It is Ethereum's decentralized liquid staking protocol. So, quick background on staking to highlight a point that we may think of staking as a way to earn a reward or a return, which indeed it is, but it's much more important than that because since the merge, staking has been how Ethereum is secured and how we can ensure that the blockchain continues to tick along, but also in a way that is credibly neutral and free from censorship, which is pretty important. After all, that's kind of the reason why a lot of us are here. If Ethereum isn't decentralized, it loses a lot, if not all of its value. So when anyone is participating in staking, in addition to the reward, it's important to think about the effect that a choice might have on how decentralized Ethereum is. For a DAO in particular, staking can be quite challenging because it usually requires a physical device, a node, that has to be set up and managed and maintained in real life. So quite often a much easier option is to go with liquid staking. Liquid staking, by contrast, is very straightforward. It is as simple as a token swap. Holding a liquid staking token in a wallet means that you're holding a receipt token that represents a staked ETH position, and that will continue to accrue rewards passively over time, no action required. As I kind of mentioned earlier, it's important, especially with liquid staking, that it's done in a way that aligns with Ethereum's core values. So recently, there's been quite a bit of discussion on Twitter in particular from relatively influential people within the Ethereum ecosystem. Danny Ryan is one prominent Ethereum researcher who have raised some concerns about staking and liquid staking in particular, and encouraging people to make sure it's done in a way that is decentralized and it's safe. So today, Rocket Pool is really the only option to do this in a decentralized way other than physically running nodes, which, as I've said, can be pretty challenging. Rocket Pool can trace its history back to 2016 with an ICO in 2017, and ever since then has been building in full alignment with Ethereum's core values since day one. The code by this point is all pretty battle tested. There's a list of audits on our website. We use only the most prominent, not only the most prominent auditing firms, but the senior staff within those firms. A little bit about the two parts to Rocket Pool. So something that is not that common in the staking world is that Rocket Pool is a permissionless protocol. This means that anyone can join and run a node. Most of the large protocols out there that you may have heard of do not allow this. It is not possible for anyone to run a node. That is one aspect of the protocols that is highly centralized and controlled. And this usually introduces some element of trust required, whereas Rocket Pool has gone the other way. There's now over 3,000 node operators spread around the world. We don't know who all of them are or where all of them are. It's possible to do it in a completely anonymous way, but Rocket Pool helps to lower the barrier of entry for these node operators, both from a technical and a financial perspective. So in this way, Rocket Pool is really the only protocol that's directly working to increase decentralization. As the protocol grows, more and more people become involved in staking. That's healthier for Ethereum as a whole. But we're kind of talking more about liquid staking here. And this is the second part of the protocol and probably more relevant for this discussion. For liquid stakers, the protocol that you choose to stake with, essentially you'll have to rely on the node operators to continue to operate, to continue to perform. And with Rocket Pool being permissionless, decentralized, and greatly reducing the amount of trust required, this means that liquid staking with Rocket Pool avoids centralization risks. So we're probably all very aware over the past year and a bit what can happen when you have to trust people with your funds. It doesn't always turn out the best, unfortunately. Rocket Pool, again, being decentralized, it is also over collateralized and has by far the strongest insurance for liquid stakers. So a few areas there where unfortunately there is still really no alternative out there in the market. This is, as an aside, something that we're a little bit disappointed about. We really believe that for Ethereum to be healthy, there needs to be more protocols working towards a highly decentralized way of doing things. And we really hope that in the future that there will be more growth in that area. But unfortunately, today, it's really just Rocket Pool that ticks all of these boxes. So for liquid staking, I mentioned the liquid staking token for Rocket Pool. It's called RETH. And while not part of this proposal, there is always the opportunity to use RETH elsewhere in the world of DeFi. It is an asset that is essentially becoming almost equivalent to ETH, at least within DeFi. And as the name suggests, as a liquid staking token, positions can be entered and exited relatively quickly as you can confirm a transaction on the blockchain. You can enter and exit a liquid staking position, and that includes Rocket Pool. So all of this has meant that Rocket Pool has been growing pretty quickly over the past few months. We had a big protocol upgrade released almost 3 months ago called Atlas, and it greatly increased the efficiency of the protocol, and it boosted Rocket Pool to around the 9th or 10th largest Ethereum protocol by TVL. So pretty popular, a large amount of Ethereum staked through Rocket Pool, and that's continuing to grow. So with that all said, the proposal is relatively straightforward, simply to allocate some ETH to staking with Rocket Pool. The amount in the proposal is 14,400, and by converting that to RETH, the RETH token will appreciate in value versus ETH over time. To claim the rewards, it's as simple as swapping back from RETH into ETH, and you are left with more ETH than you started with, which is quite good. Not only earning a return, but as I said earlier, directly helping to secure Ethereum. So happy to take any questions on this. There are a few additional bullet points in the proposal about why RETH is suitable, other than what I've mentioned today. The Oracle from Chainlink is another point that was recently enabled a few months ago, and it's helped RETH to become really one of only 2 liquid staking tokens that are widely accepted within DeFi. But when it comes to the all-important decentralization aspects, Rocket Pool kind of stands head and shoulders above the rest. So yeah, thanks for your time. Thanks for allowing me to have a bit of a chat about Rocket Pool, and happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Maverick, for your elaborative introduction to Rocket Pool. I assume there are no questions, and let's go further with our call today. We have Brave New DeFi up next, who will recap the NMPIP to update protocol cover wording. Take it away, Brave.
Thanks, Sam. I also just wanted to say a quick thank you to Maverick. I know if you're in Australia, it's very late for you, so I really appreciate you joining us and talking about the Rocket Pool proposal. But
no worries, I'm quite used to this kind of hour at the end of the day. Most of the rest of the world is awake during these times, so just part of it. But yeah, thanks again.
All right. Yeah, I'll run through the Nexus Mutual Protocol Improvement Proposal for updating protocol cover wording very briefly. Sam, if you want to go to the next slide for me. Perfect. So this has been on the forum for a little more than a month now. The NMPIP was posted earlier this month and the summary of the changes have been outlined on the forum as well, but just for those who maybe haven't read through it, the high points are changing some of the wording and language. So economic design failure is changing to sudden and severe economic event. One of the issues with economic design failure is that it was very vague and people weren't sure exactly what it protected against. So that's been better defined in the new version of protocol cover. There's a specific definition, and there's also time frame for severe economic events that cause a loss. So that's limited to 2 hours. So if there's a slow economic leak over time, that's not going to impact members in the mutual. So just defining that and having better definitions in there all around with a lot more terminology defined within the cover wording to provide people with just a lot better information on what exactly is being covered. And some exclusions that have, I think, basically among members of the mutual have been agreed upon, that things that aren't covered because they're not related to the protocol, but specifically defined in the cover wording, so it's very clear to anybody that's buying cover. So front-end attacks or malicious websites, these things haven't been covered. It's clearly defined in the wording now. And then token depegging events. Protocol cover is always protected against a loss of funds, but not a loss of value. And that is now clearly defined in the wording as well. We've added some language about future reimbursements if those come up. There's been discussion about that in the past, but just to be very clear on how reimbursements are treated, there's been a section added about that. There is a provision there that prevents people from trading their cover NFTs after a loss event occurs. That way people aren't trading them like credit default swaps or anything like that. And then there's, like I said, other definitions that have been added to provide greater clarity to members who are buying cover. So if this is approved, Protocol Cover v2.0 will go into effect once it's implemented. I would put a notice on the forum and send out an announcement to members that would take effect for anybody that's buying cover going forward once this is implemented. For anybody who's previously bought cover, those Protocol Cover v1.0 provisions would still apply to your cover. If you renew your cover and buy a new cover after this is implemented, then of course those new protections would take effect. So you can find the complete proposal on the forum. I have that in the thread for today's call as well. The other NMPIPs that we've talked about are also in the thread for today's call. But happy to take any questions if anybody has any questions about this proposal. That's going to be going up for an on-chain vote along with the other ones tomorrow. Okay, if not, I'll talk a little bit about the DAO proposal that's up for snapshot right now. Members can vote on this until Sunday. It'll, excuse me. It will close for voting on Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern, but right now it is open for voting. So this is the DAO team's budget request proposal. The DAO teams request funding every 6 months, and the current funding period is going to be ending here at the end of July. This proposal has been refined slightly from the RFC that was posted previously. The RFC and the NMDP have been up on the forum for a little over a month now. And in here, the teams outlined the funding renewal request for the next 6-month period from August to January. And the request is for $263,550 for operating expenses. We did have a surplus from the previous 6 months. When we were funded with WNXM, the price went up. And as we diversified to meet obligations over time, we netted a surplus that'll be pulled forward to pay for costs for other teams. For the investment and operations team, as well as the discretionary budget that's shared by teams, will all be pulled forward from that surplus. The community, marketing, and R&D teams have funding requests. These are outlined in great detail on the forum. You can see the priorities, ongoing responsibilities, the detailed breakdown of what the requests are and what the money is being allocated for if it is approved by members. And then there is a performance review of the last 6 months included for each team on the forum as well. So if you want to see some more detail, both of the RFC posts and the NMDP have quite a bit of detail if you're interested. Always happy to answer questions if you want to leave those on the forum or if anybody has any questions on the call. but you can also see how these teams fit into the Nexus Mutual roadmap, which includes the priorities and objectives for all of the teams. So that would be the teams contributing to the foundation and the DAO teams who are contributing to the DAO as well. So happy to answer any questions on this proposal, but if nobody does have any questions today, you can find that vote on Snapshot. That's also on the thread for today's community call. Please review and participate. So at the start of this funding period, we talked about overhauling the governance forum, and that's now been completed. We've added a variety of new categories and subcategories, but the overall goal is to make things easier to find in the forum and make it easier for people to participate and be active in current governance discussions or any discussions related to the DAO or the protocol. If you look through here at some of the new categories, we have staking pools, staking pool managers in V2 each have their own category and they can share updates. You can see here that the ease team just shared their June update where they talk about their ease risk ratings and they highlight any changes that have been made. So this is a place where members can have conversations back and forth with staking pool managers if they have questions and can stay up to date with the latest developments happening with the people who are running staking pools in Nexus Mutual V2. Governance discussions, we had this one before, but we didn't have some of these subcategories, so we've added some of these subcategories to make it easier to find information that you're looking for. We've got the DAO proposal category, the protocol improvement proposals category, one for the advisory board when there are advisory board votes that go through. So we provide updates there. DAO team funding requests, and then there's the category for the DAO treasury management. You can see in the updates category, we have a variety of different subcategories here, but the most popular one on the forum right now is probably the tokenomics subcategory there. All of the updates that the R&D team is sharing can be found in this category. And then the investment category in and of itself is where the investment committee works with people to discuss potential proposals that would go up for governance. So both of the proposals from the Avant-Garde team and from the Rocket Pool community started in the investment category and then made their way to formal governance from there. So just easier to find where the capital pool investment discussions are happening. Ecosystem is where we'll share updates on partnerships and integrations, people who want to propose partnerships or ask questions about integrations can do that in the ecosystem category as well. For cover products, as more cover products are developed, we can share updates here. The protocol cover update proposal originally started in the cover products category. We'll also share new listing announcements and people can put in listing requests in this category as well. I merged the risk analysis. There were two categories that talked about risk, so I merged those together just to streamline things. We've got the feedback category that's been here for a while. We just updated a little bit of the information in here, and then the claims assessment category, which has been here for a while, but will be kind of revamped and utilized if there are future claim events. So all of this, I hope, makes it easier to contribute and stay up to date on what's happening within the DAO. If anybody has any feedback on here, you can leave that in the feedback channel, but I'm also happy to hear anyone's comments on the call if they have any.
Thanks, Brave. The floor is yours, Hugh.
Cool. Thanks, Brave. And yeah, big thanks to the guys from Rocket Pool and Avant-Garde to hear about those proposals. It's exciting to see the investment side of things getting a bit more momentum over the past few months, and looking forward to seeing those votes on chain. So yeah, as we'll be having a few votes with the on chain very shortly, please do participate, as it definitely helps get them over quorum, etc. So yeah, get involved there. On my side, a couple of updates to work through. Tokenomics stuff, which is going quite well. We're working through the engineering stuff. It's going. We're making some good progress now. We were working through a couple of edge cases that were tripping us up a little bit, but we've seen, over the past few days seem to have kind of worked out a pretty elegant way around those. So notwithstanding other things might come up, things seem to be going quite smoothly at the moment. So again, we'll keep you updated on that side of things. We're also investigating the option of potentially getting an independent economic audit. of the proposals of the proposed system. So not quite sure exactly how much that costs, etc. at the moment, but we've reached out to a few firms to get some quotes on that side, and we'll let you know next steps on that front. So yeah, good progress on the tokenomics happening behind the scenes. Another thing on the engineering side, more on the front end aspects, rather than the Solidity, is we fixed the connection issue with Wallet Connect over the past few weeks, past week, I guess. Wallet Connect upgraded to V2 and didn't realise we had to do something, but picked it up. It's now fixed. So if you were having problems last week, then it should be all good now. And we've actually started a design sprint for a UX design sprint for both the by cover flow, which is a bit more simple, but perhaps more involve the staking flows, which are definitely kind of basic at the moment. So we are looking to kind of enhance, in particular, the staking flows, see if we can make some stuff smoother on the by cover flow as well. So just to let you know, those few things are going on. On the kind of sales side, we've been slashing deals is kind of there's a few kind of coming to fruition at the moment that we've been working quite hard on. So yeah, Chorus one bought a little while ago, and there's a few others in the pipeline that are progressing, and so hopefully there'll be some good news over the coming weeks. I guess the other big one is the TRM deal, which we've just kind of gone through listing processes, and they should be buying later in the week, the first cover buy. So that's really exciting news because that's projecting real world risk. So yeah, so I guess there's some good things happening on the sales side as well, and I guess we're also kind of looking at various options with different products. There's lots of people are approaching, in general, lots of people are approaching us on different I guess risks, whether they're real world or crypto related, etc. Because there's shorter capacity at the moment. So it's about finding the right ones where we can develop a product relatively quickly. We can price it and obviously do the claims, etc. So there seems to be a lot of opportunities out there if we can get the right structures in place. So yeah, overall quite positive, but I think the big one from the I guess foundation side of things is really the tokenomics is pushing forward quite well. Yeah, I guess that was a quick whiz through from my side. Obviously happy to take questions if you have them.
Hi, you. This is Martin from Cologne. Yeah, I'm interested in some general update regarding your plan. I've seen your roadmap that you posted on the forum. So probably I will try to catch up with you on LinkedIn or any other channel to maybe have a short update regarding my plans as well. But yeah, happy to see the great progress you're making.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, if you had a specific question, have you taken an hour or later, that's fine.
If there are no other questions, let's move forward with weekly analysis. Over the last week, the mutual has sold about $193,000 of cover with 1.5 thousand fees earned. Because it's the season, because it's a type of market that we're all aware of, our sales might change, might fluctuate, but we are happy to see different types of products that our BD, sales, and risk teams are pushing forward to bring to fruition, like Hugh has mentioned. And we are seeing the ETH staking operator product field on our cover dashboard on Dune in here as well. And our active cover amount is at $52 million. Because we have already provided the important updates from our governance this week, we are skipping the latest governance discussions recap and want to ask members here if they have any questions. If not, this is the end of our call today. Thanks for joining us. We hold these calls every other Tuesday, so the next one will be in 2 weeks. Looking forward to seeing you all then. Have a great week. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.